Ignite. CEDH.
Welcome to Ignite CEDH. My name is Joseph.
I'm Kevin.
And we have a special guest today with our good friend, Boyd. Also, people know you as Alex or Boyd. Most people in the community call you Boyd, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I typically try to go by Boyd. It's a little more recognizable, matches my online handles a bit better.
Yeah. And honestly, at this point, you're fairly new to the CDH tournament scene, but have been playing Commander. I've known you for 12 years, I think, at this point. I think we met back in maybe 15 years, so 2010 probably area.
Yeah, I started around Innistrad, so I've been playing. I got into competitive Magic probably like 4 or 5 months after that. Was playing 60 card, grinding away, had some, notable successes here and there. Been playing Commander since close to its inception, honestly. But yeah, definitely took a hiatus for a bit. I think I'm only maybe a year. I would say 6 months into CEDH now. So I'm still getting my feet wet with the format, but I have a lot of tournament knowledge that I think is helping me.
Yeah, it definitely translates well. One of the reasons why we wanted to get you on the cast is because you're a person who I don't think I've ever seen you net deck anything. You always come with some of the spiciest brews. You understand a good concept of good decks, and then you just want to put your own mixtape into it, right?
There's two halves to that. One half is the not net decking and knowing your decks, and the other half is your decks perform pretty well. You do pretty well at a lot of these events that you bring your own brews to, and that lets you stand out from everyone who's just either net decking or trying to do their own thing and failing.
Yeah, I love Brewer's advantage. There's something fun about having an opportunity to play all your pet cards in a really high level competitive way, and that's usually kind of my mindset is oh, I think this card's really cool, or it's really strong, I think it's strong enough for this, so how do I make it work? And I think I can attribute some of my success because I do have that Brewer's advantage a lot of the time. I think the hard part is not relying on that. I think what's helped me is because I've spent so much time building good fundamentals, and Joe says he's never seen me net deck, but I have done it many times in the past. Because that's kind of part of brewing is understanding what the field looks like and what the best decks are doing, and how do I take all these weird janky pet cards and how do I get them to that level? How do I hang with them by either going against what they're doing or trying to do what they're doing but better, or in a slightly different way that gives you the edge.
So when you decide to net deck versus brewers brew something, are you playing with the intent to find something to break in the format when you net deck, or are you just playing it because you don't feel there's something that you can exploit in the format?
Net decking for me is usually, I think you kind of got it. Sometimes you look at a meta and you're this feels solved. It feels like all the high level cards are seeing play, and the ones that aren't, maybe they're missing a piece or two. Maybe, you gotta wait a couple more months to see the next set in standard for something to really start to shine, or we see it all the time. Something comes out and a card spikes 400% or 500% because all of a sudden there's this new synergy that really makes it pop off. So, I think the most notable time I've net decked was Theros standard, when you saw mono blue and mono black, and there was a handful of other decks, but those were the prominent ones.
The devotion decks,
yeah those really cool
sure.
devotion decks, because Master Waves was such a unique card, and I think a lot of the reason that I was net decking then was because that was a cool deck, Master Waves with Cloudfin Raptor. Those are weird cards that you're who would have thought that they would have performed, but Master Waves really tied all that together. And it's kind of that mentality that I bring to brewing, right? You're playing all these subpar cards, and then you have this one linchpin that really pulls it together. Most notably, I used to play a blue-black Tesserator deck in Standard, and the entire premise, that deck saw a lot of my success, and it was because of Karn. Oh man, I'm gonna forget the name. Sign of Urza, because like when that card released, everyone was super high. They're like, colorless draw, like let's go. And every deck in the finals of like the most recent tournaments after it released saw like 4 copies of Karn. But like as 2 or 3 months went on, that dwindled to 0 because everyone quickly realized that like it was just too slow for that kind of meta. And I always looked at Karn and I'm like, this card is broken if you're leveraging the tokens it makes, because we'd never seen that token, and we're seeing it now in standard with Simulacrum Synthesizer. Like those tokens get big.
The construct tokens are like really good now.
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
Like you even see constructs come up in games of Commander. Doesn't happen too often, but if you could slot in a Urza Saga into the deck, like spending 2 mana to get a decent sized creature most of the time, because every deck plays 13 artifacts, 5 to 13 artifacts guaranteed, pretty much. And then you get those Urza decks that their win cons are making infinite constructs. Now, to bring this into like a CDH fashion, so you said you've been playing CDH for about a year, give or take. I know you've played high power Commander for a long time before that. However, what are you playing? Like, tell us about like where you started with CDH and where you are at now.
I started from this place of like, you're right, I used to play high power before I took a bit of a hiatus. And back then EDH Commander was like a totally different scene. You know, there wasn't really anything of a CEDH community, at least where I was playing. Spell Table didn't really exist at the time. So I was just playing high power, and then I took this hiatus. When I came back, it was a friend of mine reached out and was like, hey, we got some guys that are looking into CDH and like really high power Commander, like you should come out and start playing again. So I started coming out and I started brewing up these like really high level decks, not really knowing what I was doing. I would be like, oh, I really like Sultai. Like, I'm an addict for like that color combination. So I was building Tasigur with no concept of how a Hoarding Broodline combo worked. And I'm looking at the deck like, why is Hoarding Broodlord so good? Like, why do you need Scholar of the Troves in this deck? And I'm like, yeah, getting a tutor's cool, but like, why is that so good? And I had no concept that like, no, getting Broodlord means you win the game now. So I had just kind of bounced around from deck to deck, and honestly, I was building a new deck every week or two for the better part of a year, just trying to figure out what I wanted to play and what strategies I wanted to sit with. And it's only been a couple months since I was like really got a feel for the format, being like, okay, this is how you brew a deck, and this is how you have like focused win conditions, this is how you build out your interaction suite and your like silver bullets if you need them. I really understood how to prioritize different cards based on like strategy and stuff.
And where has that brought you to? Like, what deck are you playing now?
I'm playing a few decks right now. My main tournament deck is Atraxa. I started on it probably 2-3 months ago. Been really liking it. I think you've both been the victims of some of the spice that I've kept in the deck for an amount of time. I'm playing Grand Arbiter Augustine, and I'm so high on that card in that deck. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I played against you playing a Holly at Kevin's tournament, and you got a Grand Arbiter down pretty quickly. Still may have squeezed out a win there or a draw, but it was I had to like remove 3 things before I could even go off.
Yeah, it's tough, and like I'm a big fan of silver bullets, but yeah, so that's the main tournament deck. But I'm also playing the Dargo Rayhan deck, which I think is a lot of fun. It's been sort of my first foray into a turbo deck, so it's been a big learning exercise for me. And then most recently I put together Vilepod, which is it's got a bit of a story for me, but I like to call it a bit of a pet deck. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Tell your story.
That's Vile. Is that Vile Smasher Thrasios? So
it's Vile Smasher Thrasios, and how I kind of ended up playing the deck was really funny. When Spider-Man released, I saw Carnage, and I went, hey, now we have a way to go from Deceiver Exarch to Kiki-Jiki without white with a birthing pod line. And I got really excited, and I immediately started brewing the deck. I remember playing a tournament in like 04ing and on Blood Pod, and I went, I'm done with this. I'm going to go build this new pod deck. And I sleeved it up, and I brought it out to my like local Friday night games. And I played like a few games with it, and a friend of mine looks at me, and he's like, oh, I told him like what I named the deck, and it was something kind of dumb. I'm not going to repeat it here. But he was like, oh, like you should look up to see if anyone's done that. And so I went home, and I'm like, I wonder if someone's done. And I looked it up. Sure enough, there's a full Discord. People have been doing the birthing pod line without white using Violent Tumor and Fate Stitcher forever. Carnage just made it 1 mana cheaper to kind of like do the transition. And so I jumped on the Discord. I started digging through deck lists and sort of put my own spice on it. I've had some recent. I'm on and off Blood Pod all the time, and I feel like it's really bad right now. So I've been trying to really get away from the stacks pieces. Honestly, it's kind of my just like, I'm gonna play Thrasios and I'm just gonna like spin Thras a bunch of times. I don't expect to take it to tournaments. I'm just having a lot of fun playing it.
So you want to get away from stacks pieces by playing Grand Arbiter in your Atraxa deck?
Kevin's heard this one before, but Grand Arbiter Augustine the Fourth is a ramp spell, and anyone looking at it as a stacks piece means you are not putting it in the right decks. It lets you cast Atraxa for 5 mana. I was going through a food chain line, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just exile Atraxa. I'm like, wait, Atraxa only costs 7, and just made me 8 mana because Grand Arbiter's out. It lets you cut on so many things, like 1 mana Cloud of Fairies, 1 mana Fairy Mastermind, like all like just the mana.
Yeah. 3 mana Ang.
Yeah, like, I really. Oh man, if you're not playing it, I hope you put it in soon.
Oh, I haven't played Ang in a while. Just because I couldn't get it close enough to 0 proxies for face, so I'm playing Blue Farm up until face, and then I'll kind of evaluate from there. But yeah, I kind of want to try it in that deck, absolutely, especially because like it just shuts down Atali, which is the big predator of Ang.
Atali fucks up Ang.
yeah. That's the whole reason I went stacks in the first place with the list. Is it just the deck can operate casting 1 spell a turn, basically, is what it boils down to, and a lot of other decks can't. So
well, and I think Ang is well poised for those rule of law effects, because you're right, you can play through, just 1 spell. And like I said, I'm cutting back on stacks pieces, but it's just because I'm not playing the right decks for them. I still think they're really powerful in Tayam. Magda plays some insane stacks cards that are like, Magda's seen quite a resurgence in my experience lately.
Yeah, there was a tournament, was it last weekend? There was like 3 Magda players in one of our local tournaments.
The Forbes tournament on the 3rd.
But yeah, your tournament. The tournament that I couldn't go, so I couldn't remember what the tournament was.
Yeah, we had 14 players, and 4 of them were on Magda, which was fucking crazy.
It was definitely a ratio.
It's a very strong deck.
It is. So our meta right now is like Kinnan and Magda is what it feels like. For me, like I think you know this. I started on I technically started on Kinnan, went to Talion, but then I went to Atraxa, and I was on Atraxa for a better part of the year. You could keep that in, Kev. For like about 6-ish months, I think from May till about August-ish. And like I was going hard on Atraxa for and got like some pretty notable tournaments under my belt, doing well. Most of the time it was online tournaments in some Discords, and got some notoriety and power level there. But then I was like, at that point, Dockside was still a menace in the format, and I was like, why am I trying to clone Dockside when I could just play Dockside? That's where I kind of moved to my new pet deck of Kenriff, which immediately got banned, and I was like, dismantled the deck. A few months later, went back to the deck, but right now, for me, it's like, I'm having a great time kind of brewing a mid-range Kenriff deck. And I have my pet cards. Like, I love this fucking 6 mana creature golem that sacrifices to make Wooburg. And it's just like, this card is theoretically bad, but when you have 3 reducers in your deck for activated abilities, it makes infinite mana minus black. It's pretty funny.
Turns out infinite mana is pretty good.
Especially in your with your commander being able to just mill your opponents. It's...
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I definitely have seen that Brewer's Advantage. You mentioned it earlier in the podcast. A Brewer's Advantage can be very beneficial. Your opponents are looking at your graveyard, not seeing this 6 mana golem in your graveyard. Was like, okay, I accept your Biomancer's Familiar, and I just represent a win. And they just sometimes don't know how things work. Like you said, you were looking at Passiger and you didn't understand Hoarding Broodlord lines. What is, like, how can you talk more about the Brewer's Advantage?
Yeah. That's been my bread and butter, right? Like, CDH is such a unique format. There's so many different strategies, and like, if you've never sat down across from a Tayum deck or a Magda deck, like, it's really hard to know what to expect. Like, we have a lot of these like soup decks, and it's like, here's the like 200 staples you see in CDH, and 50% of the decks are playing as many of them as they can. But like, there's these Yuriko decks and Sisei decks. Like, I'm just like, it's turn 3, I'm just gonna jam. I don't think anyone's really got interaction. So I cast Entomb, and everyone's kind of like, yeah, no one's got a mental misstep. Okay. And I'm like, I'll put Kiki-Jiki in my graveyard. And everyone's going, what the F are you doing? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to cast this Eldritch Evolution, go get a 4-drop or less. And everyone's like, I don't know if we stop him here. Like, I don't know what he's going to get. Maybe something to reanimate the Kiki-Jiki. And then the one guy reveals Pact, and, it turns into a draw pretty quickly. But, everyone's still questioning, like, what happens here? And I'm like, oh, I win the game. Because, these 3 people have never seen how Hazel's Brewmaster interacts with Kiki-Jiki. It's a fun little combo. Your foods make copies of the Brewmaster, which makes more food, and they all have haste. Like, it's very quick and efficient. It's a much cleaner survival of the fittest line from what I've seen. But that's a perfect example of everyone's looking at this Eldritch Evolution going, I don't know how he could win here, but maybe he wins. I think he wins. Like, yes, everyone's scared, but no one can explain to me, like, how they're gonna die. And that's a huge advantage, especially with cards, mostly in green, honestly, like your Green Suns, your Nature's Rhythms, your Finale of Devastations. Even a fun one I like is Lively Dirge, because you put it on the stack and you're like, here's this number, and it can be somewhat arbitrary. It can usually be bigger than what you want to get, which will throw a lot of people off if you pick kind of the right number. Like, if you say,
5
3,
is a Seaboard Muse.
Yeah, but if you say 6, everyone goes, like, what green 6-drop does he have in his deck? Yeah, okay, you can resolve that, and you're like, okay, I'm just getting Seedboard Muse. Like, you have these avenues to, like, sneak things into play when people aren't ready for them.
You're talking about Green Sun's units. I think you said Lively Dirge.
Oh, I did also say Lively Dirge. It works too. If you put it on with enough modes, from it being on the stack to it resolving, nobody can interact until that creature's on the battlefield, which is a great way to sneak in a Drana and Linvala against a Thrasios deck.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely, like, messes with people's ability. Now, like, Neoform doesn't have that luxury. Neoform doesn't have that luxury of going less, but like every other tutor pretty much allows you to get X or less, and that can really mess with people's minds. Like, it's the amount of times I'm able to resolve like a Chord Calling for X equals 3 and get a Grand Abolisher just because nobody thinks it's coming is relatively high. And it's something that, like, if you don't know how a deck works, or if you don't know how a deck plays, you might not see the forecast roll in.
Right? Yeah. If you've never played against a Gitrog is a great example. If you've never played against a Gitrog deck and they put a Putrid Imp on the stack, and you have a mental misstep, 9 times, like anyone who's played against that deck knows, like you need to mental misstep that right away. You're probably about to lose if Gitrog is out. But a player who's never seen that deck is going to go, sure, Putrid Imp, and then the Gitrog player goes, okay, I'm going to win now, and you can't do anything about it because like that deck is really hard to interact with unless you're really pinpointing those like peak moments. So the Brewer's advantage really lets you kind of like skirt around all these weird little situations. A good one was a recent tournament Kevin and I played. It was a small 8-person tournament. We were in the top 4, but you know, I'm sitting on like 2 lands and no one's really expecting me to like have a Witherbloom Chain of Smog combo because like the mana isn't right for Thoracle. No one really plays Witherbloom combo if you can play Thoracle combo, but Witherbloom combo can be cast with 2 lands and a Dark Ritual, so it's like slightly easier to get away with like sneaky stuff like that too when you have that Brewer's advantage. I'm sure everyone's used to watching Blue Farm counting how much black mana they have for their Adnos.
I think the huge benefit with playing CDH as our format, or as our like bread and butter at this point, is this format is very, very diverse. There's going to be oftentimes where I sit across from a player and have no idea what the deck does because I just never seen it before. And I play a lot of Magic. I play a lot of CDH, and it's just like, I know Arkham Daxam. I can't.
Arkham Daxam.
Yeah, Arkham Daxam is a scary card that searches for an artifact and can win pretty quickly, but I don't know what the win lines are. I know I can't let a spell seeker resolve in Ignala. Like, I know like key interaction points with these very niche decks, but it's hard to kind of like know everything. And that's like the beauty of the deck is of the format is you can get into a spot where you can bring that unknown into a tournament and do well because people are not ready for it.
I think the lesson here is that cards that put things into play need to be taken more seriously. That's the only lesson I'm getting from this. I don't know. All this Brewer stuff, beers are fun, but putting stuff into play is really where we win our games.
Yeah, it's like when Noda's one of the best decks in the format.
I had a game.
That was a joke if you didn't sense that sarcasm.
Didn't it just top 16 in an event?
It did. It did well at a semi-major tournament. Not last weekend, maybe 2 weekends ago. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe last weekend.
Stacks is back.
How often, you especially, you play a lot of brews, but both of you play brews. How often do you run into players who know how to negate your Brewer's advantage? So, like, they see you put your Golem in the graveyard, and they say, oh, this is a problem, we need to exile this from its graveyard, or we not let him resolve his start spell. How often does that happen for you guys?
I say more often than not, because it's like, you don't need to know a deck to understand a combo. I find that, like, oh, this card makes mana, your Kenrith can reanimate. Why is this bad card in your deck? They can sense that this is a combo piece, or if this is something, and it just takes an observant eye.
That's the question I was going to hit on, was why is this card in their deck? That's like from across the table, you have to look at it like, why is this 6 mana do nothing in his deck?
Yeah,
right.
I have played a lot of naked Witherbloom apprentices, and sometimes I have the Chain of Smog, sometimes I don't. But you know, there's most players who understand that combo exists will call it out immediately and say, like, there's no reason he's playing this out if he doesn't have the other half, right? And like that's one of the biggest things about brewing is like sequencing is very important. Like being able to have all those little weird niche spells, you know, sneak through the counters where you're like, oh, you know, this is just some obscure 2-drop that you've never heard of before, and it's like there's some obvious synergies, but like they don't see this intricacy that you're, you know, still holding in your hand. And when the time comes, you go, okay, here's my instant speed Grand Abolisher, and now I'm gonna win. Because like if you just put that scary spell in the stack, immediately you're going to be a target, and you're not going to have time to deploy any of your other like smaller inconsequential spells if you lead with that first scary one, right? Like you never want to play your Birthing Pod until you're looking at your mana situation saying, okay, I have enough to play it, activate it to, you know, a win, plus, you know, whatever other interaction I'm holding up to help protect it.
Yeah.
Because if you just play a birthing pod, it's so susceptible to removal or just even being bounced.
Yeah, it's birthing pod is like a very scary card too. It's like it can do a lot, but it also can do like very little. So it's like hard to judge the power level.
I think in CEDH you need to judge cards while they're on the stack at their maximum power level, unless there's a very good reason not to. Like I have an opposition agent in my hand, sure you can have your birthing pod. I don't give a shit.
So,
but outside of that, I have to assume that birthing pod is going to any of this game this turn, if not next turn at the very latest.
I agree and disagree at the same time. I find like any format in the in Magic, there is a finite amount of resources and interaction, right? There's a finite amount of interaction. So you can't just judge a book by its maximum power level. You have to have that game knowledge to say, okay, he doesn't have enough mana to activate this turn. I don't see a win line the second. Can this be dealt with next turn or before his next turn? And try to kind of get that ideal plan out. Because there's three other players in their game that also probably two others of them don't want this card to resolve either. You have to kind of not sandbag, but you have to min-max your pieces of interaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to bring it back to birthing pod, but Joe makes a great point. Like a good example would be, say you have a Rocco player who's tapping out just to cast their birthing pod. They have maybe 1 mana open because they want to activate it on the turn. If they're on a bunch of 2-drops and a bunch of 4-drop, if they don't have a 3-drop, I'm much more likely to say, yeah, go ahead, get your 1 birthing pod. I'm going to besage it on my turn, because like knowing that birthing pod line, they have to start at a 3 to get to their win, and if they don't have a 3 and they don't have mana to cast one behind it, like not even an evoked endurance works because birthing pod sorcery speed. So that's a perfect example of saying, yeah, sure, like resolve it, have your 1 birthing pod. Like something like that is relatively inconsequential. Obviously there's corner cases where you might still just lose there, but there's very few cards in Rocco's colors that I think let you pod from 2 or 4 to a win without the right creatures on board already or in your graveyard.
Yeah. So we're going to move into our next segment of overreactions and talking about tournaments. But before we do that, where can people find you, Boyd?
I'm on the internet. I do a lot of lurking. I'm Game Boyd on the internet. Use a 4 instead of an A on most platforms, even some you wouldn't expect. Check out my Rebrickable account if you're into Lego. Yeah, I don't know. I'm usually lurking somewhere.
Yeah, and I know in the past you've made me some sick tokens. Do you have like a side hobby of just like trying to do artistic work?
Not really. I like to make stuff. I just like to make stuff. I try not to make a business out of it. It's more of a hobby. I do it
for sure.
I do it for fun. And if my friend's like, oh, I need some Atali tokens, it's like, yeah, I'll whip that up in 20 minutes. It'll be a blast. I'll make it look like Reptar.
No worries. Thank you very much, Boyd. Let's stick around and talk about some overreactions. I think Kevin prepared this week. As you can see, Andrew couldn't make it out today. But what do you have for us, Kev?
First question, not a huge overreaction, but how often do you resleeve your decks? And how often should you resleeve your decks? I go about once every year to 2 years, depending on how often I play the deck. The look on your face, oh my god.
I resleeve my tournament deck every 2 or 3 tournaments, probably.
Really? Oh my god, you spend so much.
Like a high, like it depends on because I also play them weekly as well.
That's
I probably
true.
jam
You play a lot more.
3 to 7 games a week through like a league or just random games. So like this deck's getting used probably pretty heftily 15 hours a week, if not more.
Okay.
So like I find 2 tournaments is typically, I don't like the feel of these sleeves anymore. They're getting really wrinkled at the top, or They have a lot of gunk.
Alright.
I'm going to swap out. I don't swap out inner sleeves almost ever.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But the outer sleeves, I waste a lot of plastic. It really depends. It's like more of like a sensibility. Like I haven't re-sleeved Kenriff in a while, but I also haven't played Kenriff.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can answer if you want, actually, Boyd, before I...
Yeah, I'm usually every 2 months kind of person. I'm not playing as much as Joe. I play about 1 or 2 tournaments a month and critical online when I can, but I do have a hack. I keep all my CDH decks in the same matte black Dragon Shields, just in case I got to swap into a proxy free deck. So I will say it creates this awkward situation where you're like, oh, all my decks are looking kind of torn up. I should replace, one set of sleeves, but you're like, oh, I got to do them all now.
I do like 400 sleeves.
Yeah.
Do you get the arrow? Yeah.
I make that mistake so much.
Yeah.
But I find like the main difficulty for me is like I tried that method where I just tried to sleeve stuff in the same color sleeve and then swap them. But if you don't buy them in the same brick, they could have different like glue setting, and you could see them from the side. It's so annoying. So it's just something that I've never bought 3 packs of sleeves at the time because they're fucking expensive. So I'm just like, I'm at this point gave up on that notion and sleeving them in the colors I want to sleeve them in.
I'm coming up on the re-sleeve portion for my CDH deck. It's been a while, at least a year. And I'm going to be using these sleeves that we just got in, the Ignite CEDH sleeves. Oh, yeah, fresh out of the box. We got some for you too, Joseph. You know that you ordered them.
Yeah, I bought them, but yeah,
I got them in.
I wish
week.
I get to see you this week because I wanted to sleeve them up for. I'll probably stop by your house to pick them up.
Now, how does a normie like me get some of those?
I spend a lot of money on Dragon Shield's website, apparently.
Yeah, Dragon Shield has custom sleeves that you can make, so I just uploaded our logo, and they printed them off. It took, I don't remember when I ordered them, probably like
a few weeks.
Early the month, probably 3 weeks. Not yet.
Not yet. Not with our 30 to 100 viewers a podcast.
No.
Not a good investment party.
100 would be pretty good.
Well, I'll keep my breath then.
Yeah, I mean, if you want some to talk to us, we can get some printed off. I'll just let you know how much they cost. But
I'm just trying to plug your stuff, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah. If I guess if anyone wants them, can we resell these? It doesn't say.
It's not going to be worth it.
It doesn't say anywhere we can't. But if you want them, let us know, and we can order them. And like, it promotes the podcast a little bit. It gets people talking. Like I won a playmat from Nerds at like the last or second last tournament that they had, and I haven't ordered it yet, but I'm going to be ordering an Ignite one so I can place it down here when we play. And anytime I'm in an online tournament, people are just looking at our logo, right?
Oh yeah,
and hopefully getting their ass stomped with it, but we'll see.
Yeah, Joe's name pops up all over the Critical CDH Discord, and I can always tell it's him. I'm like, oh, there's Ignite.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I changed my name and icon in Critical, I believe, too. Okay. Do you have any other overreactions? Let's get on topic here.
I actually came prepared with a couple overreactions.
Oh, by all
means.
Boy. Yeah, fire her away.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Everyone's
good, because I'm the one that likes to get mad, so I'm normally the overreactor.
Right. Oh, this is a pretty hot take. You're gonna like it. So,
oh god,
everyone's talking about the bands lately.
Right? I will mute you from the show. And go back and edit out all your audio.
That's okay. That's fine.
That would be a terrible show.
I'm surprised anyone wanted to listen to me in the first place.
That's a deep cut from the Howling Salt Mine podcast. They joke about that with all their guests.
No, it's we love you, Boyd. It's like you're a good friend of both me and Kevin, and Andrew unfortunately couldn't make it this week, so we needed a third person, and we wanted to invite people who we think are strong members of our community.
Yeah, well, hey, I really appreciate you guys inviting me on. You know, I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, and you know, it's nice that it's really good that you guys are doing it, and you know, I really appreciate you letting me be a part of it.
Yeah,
fantastic. So get us mad.
Okay. So everyone's talking
This
about
is your first test.
yeah. Everyone's talking about bans, right? Like everyone's super hot. We got a couple weeks until hopefully Wizards unbans Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt. Fingers crossed.
I don't think they'll do Mana Crypt. But
No,
sorry, go
Mana
ahead.
Crypt-
Either one
I'm
helps
sorry.
Atraxa, which is why I'm on the deck because I'm
Fair
expecting
enough.
something to come off. But everyone is. I've heard a lot of chatter. Everyone's pretty upset about Rhystic Study, and I've heard a lot of people saying Tymna. You know. So personally, I think Tymna is a very good card for the format, and I am kind of in the let's ban Crom camp because I feel like that, takes just enough away from farm to maybe put it at everyone else's level. Forces some people to shift to Gavi. I mean, not Gavi. Wow, Brea or something else in the colors. But I think Crom might be the issue because I think Tymna's really good for the Mardu decks. I think Tymna really offers something to black and white and other non-blue colors that they don't have access to without blue.
So I can definitely see your argument. It's more for me that when I think of best commanders, I think Tymna and Rograk are outstandingly very high up there. And that's just their ability to gain advantage very quickly. Rodrak has this ability of just being sack fodder, which can turbo out a lot of pieces. It's very good for that aspect, and I see it hard to just ban Tymna, but at the same time, I think we need to power down the partner mechanic. And if I ban any partners, it would be, in my eyes, Tymna and Roger. I think it's really hard to just do one, but it's the top two of the best 3 decks right now, or best 4 decks is a combination with one of those 2 commanders.
I think banning cards because decks are good is a slippery slope because there's always going to be a best deck. Now,
For sure.
Crom, Tymna, Tymna Crom is a very good deck. Blue Farm's a very good deck. I'm not denying that. It offers a lot of card advantage. I think I mentioned on the last podcast, I would prefer to see a fix to the partner system over banning the partners. So whether that's they share a commander tax or you start with 1 less card in hand because you start with an extra card in your command zone. Specifically on the point of banning Crom, not every game, but Crom is more there like 50-50 for the colors versus playing Crom. A lot of games,
Very much like Silas.
unless they go really long, you're not going to see Crom on the battlefield. I think if you ban Crom, you just end up with Ludovic Necro Alchemist as the other partner. It's also an Is It partner card.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the camp of that might be just enough to get the hate. I think a lot of the hate for Tymna comes from Blue Farm, honestly. Personally, that's not my experience, but I think a lot of people are upset about Tymna because of Blue Farm, and I think it's just a small nick to that deck would help a lot of overall sentiment towards the cards. But I think Kevin's right. Banning is a slippery slope.
It is definitely a slippery slope, and in the idea of Blue Farm, it's more that it takes Blue Farm has taken away people's ability to brew and be creative. A lot of the metagame is taken up by Blue Farm players, and I find that Blue Farm is the same 87 cards to 90 cards, and people are kind of just coping, hey, this is the best deck, and playing the deck because they believe it's the best deck and not playing the deck because they want to innovate.
Yeah, but you're CDH, let's be honest, is 95% sweats. None of us are here because we enjoy a nice casual game of Commander. We want to play the best thing to the highest points, right? So when you come into a format and you can get any deck you want, because most tournaments are proxy friendly, you can get any deck you want, and then you hear the echo chamber of, oh, this is the best deck no matter what. This is the best deck. Blue Farm, top tier, S tier. Can't fight Blue Farm. Of course you're gonna build Blue Farm and start with Blue Farm. I think saying Blue Farm is the best deck, and not that it isn't, but to be in that echo chamber with such a competitive group yeah, you're going to get a lot of reverberation that ends up with people playing Blue Farm who probably don't have to. This is probably not the best deck for them.
I just don't see how Blue Farm is. Okay, so
Blue Farm is also
currently
falling off recently.
not really like it's. I don't think Blue Farm is as good of a deck as people.
So, so you're agreeing with my point. Just want to put that out there.
I would
like
also
that.
say calling it Blue Farm is a bit of a generalization. Like there's so many different flavors of farm nowadays that like
Yeah.
it is a big generalization. You say Blue Farm, but it's like some people are on like one red creature and some people are on one white creature, you know?
So the thing is that they're calling it Blue Farm because it used to derive of
Mad Farm with Bruce and Timna, right?
yeah, Bad Farm, and then it adapted to over to adding blue to the already known farm deck. So it's not like it's named because it's a farm deck. It's named because of history,
Right.
and its
I'm
background.
I think when people say Blue Farm, they talk about Tim Necrom, but again, you can have this Tivit style Tim Necrom, or you can have a Rog style Tim Necrom,
Yeah,
and then just adding an extra color for one or two pieces. Like even
Colors are flexible in that you can play anywhere from Turbo to like Staxy Control if you really wanted to. I don't think Stax is the way to play Blue Farm because you would take advantage of people taking game actions, but it's possible.
yeah.
What do you think
I
about fighting Blue Farm by fighting their card draw mechanics instead of banning cards? Like card steal effects or card draw steal effects or things to just stop you from drawing cards.
that was
Like
actually
Hull Breacher.
wow, that was exactly what I have written down.
Oh boy.
I think we should see a Hell Breacher unban. I think everyone's upset about, Ristic Studies running rampant. It's like, fine, here's an answer. It's right there. Let's use it. Let's teach the Ristic Study players to say no to the card draw, and let's we have OBM, but it never, or almost very rarely punishes the Ristic Study player. It usually gives them more advantage because now they're incentivized to draw more cards. People are incentivized to feed them cards to deal with threats on the board. And I think something like Hull Breacher really puts a good perspective on Ristic Study is very strong and drawing a card is very good. You should pay your taxes or this player is going to get ahead and we won't be able to keep up.
So the
I'm a little bit on the edge of Hull Breacher is a little too strong. I think a Smothering Tithe, Smothering Tithe is like that middle ground of Hull Breacher. It doesn't take away the card from the drawing, but it also punishes to draw. So that's kind of like people are still going to draw with Ristic into a Smothering Tithe unless it's very evidently you're going to win. There's occasionally the time where people will decline to draw because they are trying to get you off of your 5th or 6th mana going into your turn. But it is to the point where I don't know if I want Hull Breacher unbanned just because the power level for a deck like Rogsai or even Kenrith to just Hull Breacher wheel and get rid of all your opponent's hands permanently, pretty much, is a really, really strong effect that just wins the game and kind of puts another 2-card win con in the game.
I will say the problem isn't the punishing of the card draw; it's the taking it away. Sorry, it's the taking advantage of it. It's the fact that the Hull Breacher player gets 21 treasures along with whatever cards they draw. That's why you don't see Narset banned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is the mana you get in return, but with Hexing Squelcher coming to the format, and I'm expecting a big resurgence in targeted hard removal to deal with that card along with maybe some of the other problems we're experiencing these days. I think it's an easy clean answer to Ral in a lot of cases, as well as other it's really good against Sisei. You just swords their commander sometimes and they don't have a lot to fall back on.
How is it an answer? So I get why you think it's an answer to Ral.
it's not an
It
answer.
stops their wheel. It stops their wheel effects and their draw two effects. But most of their deck is exile effects, which it doesn't stop. So it's like there is ways to play around it. It does make it harder. But again,
I just mean the spot
you're not
removal's
going
good.
to. Oh, the spot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just talking
Which
like
fair.
I think the format needs a lot more like actual hard spot removal. I'd love to see Deadly Relic make a comeback, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I mean, I played in my farm list, but yeah, with the notion has always been CDH. The difference between regular DH and CDH is you want your interaction on the stack for CDH, and I think you're not wrong that moving that interaction a little more towards the board isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's especially if we're moving into a meta game where we're going to have Hexing Squelcher, and your stack's interaction is going to be useless.
It's tough because you're basically removing one piece of your interaction to put on board interaction, and that on board interaction doesn't beat the two best combos in the game.
Yep,
That's
that's
fair.
true.
So like it's really hard to put, like, I play Path in my Kenrith deck over swords. I don't play both. And that's because like I can sub one spot out for a removal effect, and a lot of decks don't play basics in their deck, so Path has felt very strong. Right now it feels pretty bad into like the Rog Thras meta, but if properly targeting, it's been fairly okay. But at the same time, it's like at this point I'm having trouble with seeing Path in my hand. I just want it to be a counterspell, or I want it to be a board wipe. But board wipes are really bad in our format because they're sorcery speed.
I also run Toxic Deluge in my list.
I
I haven't updated my list in a while.
Farm has that luxury though, because the deck is built to be card advantage, right? Blue Farm is one of the strongest. That's why it's just one of the strongest decks right now, is because it just 9 times out of 10 you have some sort of card advantage and one in your command zone. Like, you're just refilling your hand pretty much every turn, and that's what makes it really strong. So you have that luxury of playing one less counterspell to put in a Toxic Deluge, because you're going to see more counterspells overall, right?
Yeah, but I mean, again, as good as counterspells are, the Hexing Squelcher is a real card that exists nowadays, and like, there's only so many answers for it. And I personally am looking for ways to get around all these bounce effects. Like, the biggest problem with playing Blood Pod is, one Cyclonic Rift, and you've just opened up the game for somebody else after buying them all this time. I just kind of was looking at, what was it called? I wrote it down. Aether Vial as a good counter to all these bounce effects, right? Like, if you look at the piece you're worried about the most, you put your Aether Vial there, and then it doesn't matter if someone casts into the Floodmaw, Chain of Vapor, or a Cyclonic Rift, because you're like, whatever, tap Aether Vial and just put it right back into play immediately. It's uncounterable as well. Like, I personally am looking for a lot of ways to get around all these bounce effects, because there is no hard removal these days.
Yeah, most decks are stuck in colors that don't have good removal. Rog Thras has burn spells, but like some burn spells don't get there, right? Like Bolt does 3 damage, but that doesn't kill some of the best cards in the format, and it's really tough to use. It's easier to put in a bounce spell that can especially target your own stuff than it is to put in a bolt that is a single piece to interact with somebody else, right? It doesn't advance your game plan in any means. And that's why I think decks are kind of moving away from Cyclonic Rift. Like, Cyclonic Rift is in... I think I was looking at it in like a decent percentage point less than decks they were in last year. Just because it's decent, but it doesn't... In a lot of the decks that you see nowadays, they want Chain of Vapor because it bounces multiple of your own pieces. Cyclonic Rift not being able to target your own stuff, it's a downside that people don't want to, and it's also honestly just more expensive. Into the Floodmaw came out late last year, and that's been a powerhouse for a lot of decks. That's like almost an instant include if you can afford it. Rogstras has played This Town Ain't Big Enough because it can bounce two of your things or your thing and the opponent's thing, and it's just a lot of good benefit. Kind of now, like, yeah.
I think it also matters what kind of a deck you're playing, right? Like, I think
for sure
Rogthrast is a good example. Rogthrast wants to go fast, and so sometimes all you need to do is have that Lightning Bolt or that Into the Flood mod just to buy yourself that one, like, short window, whereas something like a Tivit or a slower deck I think wants the Cyclonic Rift for the upside, because you're already looking to get to this long game where you have all these resources and you want to reset the board and buy yourself 5 or 6 turns with that one spell instead of just like a singular window, whereas something like a turbo deck wants to buy, right?
That's fair. Now moving on here, one last quick question here for you. Instead of bans, and obviously you have an opinion on Hall Breacher, but is there anything else you would like to see off the ban list?
I did allude, like, I think everyone's kind of reached this consensus where Jewel Lotus would be okay to come off. I think a lot of people
Jewel Lotus is big time,
yeah. I would like to see Crypt back. That card alone, being able to play that in Commander is kind of what drew me to the format in the early days. So I actually just got mine at a very discounted price. So I got my fingers crossed that it'll get unbanned.
I don't think we see Crypt come back. I do think we see Jewel Lotus come back. I think Crypt was too powerful and it's not balanced for the Commander format. I think that'll be their big thing.
I also think Leovold would be okay. I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, the problem with these like card draw denial effects was never CEDH. We like when you sit it down for CEDH, the social contract is we're playing to win no matter what. The problem is when you take Leovold into a casual pod and you wheel their hands away and now they're stuck there either conceding or watching you play by yourself for 40 minutes while you find a way to win.
So going on that notion, win at any cost. A big drama this week in CDH was someone brought up lying in CDH, and I'm curious about your guys' perspective on where you stand with lying.
Personally, we play a lot of local events. If I lie to Joe in an event, not only is Joe not going to believe me in the next event, he's going to go and rightfully bitch to his friends that, hey, Kevin lied to me. Now we can't trust Kevin in this event. I tell people when there's kind of being sus about a tutor, and I'm like, you can tutor whatever you want for. I'm going to let you tutor. But if you lie about what you're getting, I'm going to hold it against you until we stop playing Magic together. Like, that is what it is. It also helps we're not playing for a bunch of cash.
Yeah, the stakes aren't as high as some places, but, personally, just as kind of like a personal rule, I have no interest in winning a game of Magic or a tournament by lying. If I can't win off the cards that I've put together and my play skill, then I don't feel like I've earned it. I can sit down and I can bitch and moan and I can say a million different things to get you to like do what I want so that I win, but coming out of that game, everyone else is going to feel bad. You're going to have built up this reputation, and that's not why I play Magic. I play Magic to build better communication with people and to build good relationships and to just like have fun playing the game. And if I have to sit down and lie because the only thing I care about is winning, I shouldn't be playing the game personally.
It's the same with like overly aggressive politics. Like we all know there's a line for like, hey, please don't counter my thing. Hey, can I we make a deal so my thing resolves? Versus like, fuck you, don't let I'm not gonna let your spell resolve. There's not like, there's a line where you're not being harsh, where you're trying to talk too much to control the game.
I had a table.
Yeah,
I had a table try and talk me out of casting a Grand Arbiter on turn 2, and the Loomer player's like, well, I'll just go get a Tabernacle. If you were going to cast that, I'll get a Tabernacle, then we have a stacks game. And I'm like, okay, like that's what I want. Why do you think I'm playing this card? That's what I want here. Go get Tabernacle. And so I'm like, I'm still gonna cast this. It's going on the stack. It's gonna resolve. And he's like, fine, I'm gonna go tutor. And then he's like, guess I took Tabernacle out of my deck. And I was like, perfect. Now I just am gonna run away with this game. Like, yeah, it's like you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I believe if I personally don't like to lie, and I also don't think you should put yourself in a position where you're going to lose the game if somebody else is lying. I think that's a really important thing to keep watch is, just because you don't want to be dishonest doesn't mean your opponents aren't going to be dishonest.
Yeah.
So if you're making a deal, make sure that like if they're lying to your face to, get $100 in store credit, if it matters that much to you, just play as if you're gonna win either way, whether they're telling the truth or lying.
Yeah, and I find that people who look down on the format that play like a casual or modern or some sort of 60 card format looking in, it's a different aspect. It's like it's not a poker game. Like lying in poker is a part of the game. It's bluffing. It is a completely necessary part of the game. But like it's people at the poker table are not looking you in the eyes and saying I have pocket aces. They're trying to not tell you information. It's not like they are straight up lying to you. They're trying to manipulate the table, and we all play Magic to manipulate the
CEDH.
Yeah, we all play CDH to manipulate our opponents. We want to make them do the moves we want them to do. It's not an aspect where I'm lying to you. Now, I also am in the point of view where most times I hear a situation where someone is lying, it's completely unnecessary. Like, an example is one that recently happened at a tournament that I went to, is someone said you'll get another turn, and this player won on their turn, which is fine, that was their choice, but they could have easily won on upkeep on the other person's turn, and lying was kind of deemed unnecessary there, but it made it look bad on that player. And it's a game of politics. There's a short turn gain where you may gain a match win, you may gain a tournament win, make okay money, but in the long term, your perception from other players that you future need to politic with is going to be what's the word that I'm trying to say? Worsened. It got worse because you lied to them. Like it's going to be harder to politic in the future with them.
Yeah, be game wins or just like good interactions with the community.
100%. Speaking about good interactions with the community, we have some tournaments coming up, guys. So all of us, me, Andrew, Kevin, and Boyd, will be at the face-to-face venue. Kevin, me, and Andrew will be playing the face-to-face CDH event on Saturday morning on February the 7th. Currently, the largest tournament Southern Ontario has hosted, to my knowledge. Currently sitting at about 96 players.
Yeah,
with a cap of 128. It's huge. Zero proxy as well. It's going to be a fun weekend. And then
I wonder how many people we're going to get there that think their deck is CDH that isn't, though. That's my worry.
Yeah, that's the issue with non-proxy. And, like...
Not even non-proxy. People who view high-level EDH as CDH. Because there's a vast difference.
Yeah, I think the difference, though, is this has a pretty steep cost to enter. It's not, overly expensive. It's $50 Canadian to sign up, but a casual player is likely not going to pay $50 to play a game of Magic. They're going to do, the open pods. So I'm not, too concerned that they're just going to come... You're going to sit down next to I don't Master Evil deck. I don't know what do people play in casual nowadays?
High powered casual. Eluge will be a high-powered casual.
Turgrid.
Turgrid, high-powered casual.
Chaloon?
Yeah,
Chaloon. Chulane, sorry. There's probably... That's probably like a step closer. Just like you could build
Chilane.
I think it did top 16 at an event recently too.
Yeah, it's not. It's like tier 3 CEDH, but it's still a CEDH deck. But if you can definitely build a not CEDH and think you're doing really good stuff in high power, and then you sit down and someone turn ones you and you're like shit.
Yeah, so that's where we're going to be on February 7th, week before my birthday. So I'm going to get to spend it with 96 of my friends, sitting down in a sweaty hall.
The massive 97.
Where does it say it? Oh, fair enough.
I didn't. Like, I
was just roughly
I didn't want to put that
numbering.
in, and then someone looks at it and was like, "This guy can't even fucking math."
I wasn't really doing math. And then we got some tournaments coming up for local events. So weekly, I hang out at Legendary every Monday doing their 3-month league. I play every Monday night, and that has been going pretty strong. We've been getting almost like 16 to 20 people every single Monday, just jamming 3 games a night and having a lot of fun. And then on February 15th, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there, but we have Orangeville. I've missed the last 3 Orangeville tournaments, Kevin. I feel real bad, but it's just like they keep on putting it on the worst weekends.
It doesn't line up. I don't think I'm going to be at the next one either. I think I'm picking up some on-call that weekend.
Fair enough. And then we have... when is your... Do you know when your next event is? Is that announced yet?
Posting it probably tonight or tomorrow. Forbes Hobbies is doing their next Mox Diamond qualifier, February 22nd. It's the same day as the St. Catharines tournament. So we figure there's probably not a lot of overlap of people going to St. Catharines and coming to Cambridge. But yeah, we had Mitch. Congratulations to Mitch, who qualified for the Mox Diamond tournament based on winning one qualifier tournament. So yeah, the winners qualify. Monthly winners qualify, and then we're going to have 24 seats. If you're not a monthly winner, it'll be based on how many points you accumulate based on top 10 and top 4 finishes.
And if you wanted to, the day before, you could go over to Hamilton for Waypoint Games, where I believe Boyd is probably going to be hanging out.
I'm going to be
definitely be there, yep.
I probably only could do one, and if I'm doing Kevin's tournament, then I can't do Hamilton. But I'll try to convince my girlfriend to let me go out for double day. Just because, like, for me, 2 tournaments a weekend became, like, such a no. But with February being such a weird month, and we are going to Blue Mountain the weekend of the 15th, which is a ski hill or snowboard hill for anybody who doesn't know. So we're going to Blue Mountain, so I might try to convince her to let me do a double tournament weekend the weekend after, where I will see you guys at Hamilton. They already have 6 people registered, so like pre-registration for 6 is already almost better than they've had before. So should be exciting. Great setting. I liked sitting there. But after that, the week after Forbes in Hamilton, Waypoint Games, we have your stomping grounds, Boyd, where you play every week.
Yep, good old Gamebridge. Looks like they're having another CDH tournament. Should be a good turnout. It's usually good people and chill vibes. That's why I'm usually there on a Friday night.
Yeah, that's all the tournaments that we are aware of at this point.
Tough Mulligans this weekend.
There is Tough Mulligans this weekend.
Tough this weekend is actually crazy. Tough Mulligans, 9 a.m. CT, 10 a.m. Eastern. And then if you scrub out of that, Timmy's Lair is hosting from BC, but they pay out face-to-face store credit. $20 entry, full proxy, spell table. And they start at 3 p.m. Eastern, so if you scrub out of Tough Mulligans and you have gas left in your tank, you can play that. There is also the Mana Lounge in London hosting a CEDH tournament, 20 proxy limit, $30 entry. I can't remember, don't quote me on that. And some special rules I think they have based on either slow play or king making, one of the two. I've been looking to try them out, but I'll probably just end up doing Tough Mulligans because it is in my living room.
It is fair.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it to Tough Mulligans. I can't. I need to practice snowboarding. I'm new to snowboarding. I'm 30 years old, and I'm going to Blue Mountain in 2 weeks. I need time. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My partner and I got a lesson on Saturday, so I have to go do that and
kind
be
of
out
wish
in the cold.
Kind of wish one of the Saturday tournaments was on Sunday, but what are you gonna do? No Sunday tournament this week, I don't think.
No Sunday. Is Mana Lounge Sunday? No.
No, Mana Lounge is Saturday. They're also not on Top Deck. Also, we have the 22nd is also a dual lane tournament at Tundra in St. Catharines, which is notable to mention. But they're not on Top Deck. They're on Melee.gg. Or their website, mechagames.ca, I'm sure.
Yeah. Honestly, huge store. Really good. Honestly, Boyd, you should probably hit that tournament up. That actually, it's the same day as Waypoint. You probably won't.
Yeah. Waypoint.
No, it's the day after.
No, it's the Sunday. It's Sunday. Never mind.
Oh, I'm already doing too many tournaments this month.
I know, right?
This is how it works. You just get roped back in.
getting him all in at this point, like non-stop competitive play. Apparently, people are hearing rumors of bans on the 9th, which I'm kind of happy that it's not the week before face-to-face again. So history, which I don't think Boyd actually knows, is Kevin and I re-met at a face-to-face event back in 2023, 2024.
We'd played at Woodstock a couple of times, but this is
I'm saying that's where we kind of like kindled a friendship.
Yeah,
we ignited the friendship between us. Is we sat down at face to face. I realized, I played him at Woodstock, but I didn't realize who he was. But I realized that weekend I've had him on my Facebook friends list for like 7, 8, 9, 10 years or something like that. Just as like friends of friends. Just we used to play at Forbes together. All three of us used to play at Forbes together. And I didn't realize where I knew him from. And then we started talking. And that face-to-face event, we both top four'd. It was a smaller tournament. It was like 16 to 30 people.
I thought it was like 40, but it could. I don't know.
No, it was less than 30. It was probably in the 20s, to be honest. It was small. It was a lot smaller than people wanted it to be. But yeah, so it was the face-to-face event. We top four'd. I think I ended up coming second. You came third, if I recall correctly.
I came second. You came third.
Oh, my bad. Reverse order.
Well, it matters because
it does.
The first seat won. They were on turbo.
No, fourth seat won. Fourth seat, yeah. I know it's the seat after me because I was like, I was on Blue Farm. I gambled for a Force of Will, which pitched my a blue card. I can't remember what the fuck the blue card was at this point. I had Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation. And I did that, and somebody has a mental misstep, and I realized I lost my last blue card to the gamble pitch. So I lost the tournament to that misplay. And then Rogsai, who was the person after me, won the game.
Yeah, so if he's seat 4 and he's after you, that means you're seat 3.
Yeah, I might have been seat 3. But yeah, so it was the week after the bans. I was on like Kenriff at the time, and I was like, shit, I can't play Kenriff. I do not have the time to rebuild Kenriff into a non-dockside deck, and I didn't think it would be good. I
remember I had an opportunity to win that game, and I kicked myself for not taking it. But the person I was on Stella Lee, and the person before me had a Necro Dominance on their turn, so they drew like 30 cards. They went to their end step and started discarding. But because as a replacement effect, there's no trigger. And I just didn't want to try and combo off into someone drawing 30 cards. Turns out he drew nothing. absolutely nothing. I had like, and the card on top would have exiled with my second spell, would have been a Pact of Negation, so I would have had extra counterspell backup. I would have been in the clear, and instead I settled for second place and got really sad.
Yeah, but like that tournament was literally, the bans were announced the Monday. The tournament was on Sunday.
Yeah.
It was 6 days to, hey, this non-proxy event just got hit by 4 big bans. It was like, I had to borrow a Blue Farm deck from my friends because it was just like, I don't have the cards for a deck right now. Like, it was wild. I'm just very glad it's the week before the bans, potentially, this time.
We'll make February pretty spicy, though, if we see some juicy unbans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or a Ristic Study ban, still spicy.
I hope not. I would be upset to see that card go, but I would understand.
Me too. I would see why, but it's like, it's really not, like, it keeps decks in check, is what it does.
It does and it doesn't. Okay, but
it makes
it
makes it a risk to combo off. Absolutely, it does. You cannot deny that.
To be honest, for me, 100% in my eyes, I want one card to be banned, and it's not Ristic or Tibna. And I've mentioned this on a podcast. I think Orcish Bowmasters leads to an unhealthy game play.
I agree.
I think that card is unnecessary for the format, and like Boyd mentioned earlier, it's literally does not punish the person who's drawing cards. It just punishes everybody else.
It doesn't always. You can't say it never.
Doesn't always, but that's the biggest negative is
it incentivizes
you can't play Rog. You can't play Rogthras or Kinnan as easily because a Blue Farm got a Ristic Study and the other player has a OBM. It's like, well, now I can't do shit. So
have you run an OBM into a Squelcher yet? Because that is not fun. It costs 4 life to do that.
Worth every bit of the 4 life, absolutely.
100%. Still scary.
Yeah, luckily I don't play decks that care about my life too much, which is an absolute lie. Two of my 3 decks right now is Atali and Ral, who both play Treasonous Ogre. Thank you guys for coming out to the Ignite CDH podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a like, follow, subscribe, wherever you're listening. Comment if you want to. Join the conversation. Join our Discord in the description. Follow us on social medias to join the conversations that we're having. Again, this is... my name is Joseph.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Boyd.
And thank you very much for Boyd. And thank you very much to Boyd for joining us on this great episode of the podcast.
Yeah, great talking.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think it will be the last time you show up at some
think
points.
so. Awesome. Well,
Okay,
good
thank
night,
you guys.
everyone. I miss real GPs. Fuck,
This
the
was
high level
supposed to be
competitive
kind of
play.
like the vibe, so...
I don't... Should I do the main event? Oh,
Should
man,
you do the main event? No, you're doing CDH.
That
Why
sucks.
would you do?
Oh man, it's just
Um,
tempting. I like high level competitive Magic.
What's the main event?
It's also
Sealed.
yeah, main event
Already
is sealed, and it looks like sold out.
I would. It would be nice to redeem myself for the last sealed GP I did. It was Hour of Devastation, and I opened the special edition whatever card of the blue red god, and then set it aside and entirely forgot about it. So I put it basically I sideboarded after game 1, and I lost almost every game 1. But games 2 and 3 I did pretty well, but it wasn't good enough to make top. Landmark, I guess yearly, does a Lord of the Rings extended edition screening. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days in a row, I saw all 3 of them. Oh my god, it was freaking awesome. I'd seen them once before, not the extended versions, and just not in theaters. So the booming of the theater and everything taking place there, it was awesome. I'm so glad I saw them in theaters. Not it wasn't a bucket list item in terms of I wanted to see them, but I saw them come, I'm oh, this is kind of cool, and I'm so glad I took that opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, you can't pass up moments like that, man.
No, it was a lot of money on movie tickets, and I've had way too much popcorn for a lifetime in the last 3 days. But so worth it. Oh my god, so worth it.
do like my regular. I'm Joe. Kev, you say your name, and then we'll introduce Boyd. He left his seat,
And he's gone.
And he's gone.
And disappears a lot from the podcast.
Chaloon?
Yeah,
Chulane, sorry. There's probably that's probably like a step closer. Just like you could build Chulane seat. Chulane. You could. Fuck.
I think it did top 16 at an event recently too.
I'm still looking through these cards, and I gotta post the Forbes event still. Man, why do I keep? If I didn't take 3 days to watch 12 hours of movies, I probably would have been in a better position.
We were supposed to film this on Tuesday. It is now Thursday, and it was like Kevin messaged. I didn't know as 100% what he was doing. Kevin messaged the group and was like, "Hey, can we repost it to Thursday?" And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And then I messaged him after work on Tuesday or something, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to go watch Two Towers."